And if you say, well, but I, for example, like really dark art, or I like gory imagery, or I like horror movies. So let's talk a little bit about that genre. I realize we're getting off on a tangent. This is going to end up being longer than I think the assignment had originally been. But let's talk about that genre, and then we'll back our way back through all the different steps that we've now kind of opened doors into. The genre of horror, or the genre of things that are meant to elicit a fear response, by definition, it's a low vibration genre. That's not to pass judgment on if you enjoy that. That is what is crafted by the artists who make that work, is they're crafting a very specific low vibration experience. And I think part of the reason why people are very attracted to that is it's the sense of, this is a safe, frightening thing to do. You know, I'm not going to be hurt by this experience. I can experience pain, suffering, fear at a very real, visceral level, and then I can turn on the light and go and brush my teeth and I'm fine. And I think that that is the draw for a lot of people who want the feeling of being in danger but don't want to be in danger. Totally understandable. Oh, this relates to Tori's question. Okay. So, on the surface, it seems like a great idea. One of the issues that is interdimensional that people don't really discuss about that genre is, even if the people who are making it have the best intentions, even if the people who are watching it have the best intentions, there will always be out-of-body presences who are looking for doorways to have power over people. And I've heard some fundamentalist sects in various religions use the term spiritual warfare, and they talk pretty openly about out-of-body presences and body snatchers. And people kind of act like those sects are weirdos for discussing it openly. The thing is, though, it's real. It actually does happen. And it's part of why after watching those scary movies and knowing in your conscious mind that you're safe, you know, that bad guy isn't coming for you. We can still have nightmares. We can still have recurrent fear experiences. And obviously there are psychological reasons for that. There are things your brain is doing. But energetically, sometimes what is happening is that there were out-of-body presences who are kind of who have attached themselves to that particular piece of work. And when they feel someone's energy body being, having that danger response, having that fear response to the work, they kind of use that fear response as a way to grab a hold of that person's energy body. And so, kind of by definition, experiencing that kind of media is an unsafe situation. So, this is interesting. I was just quietly in my head asking the guardian angels, you know, what do we give to people who want that feeling of fear, of danger, of adrenaline that comes from watching horror films or scary movies, or even just high intensity films? What can we give them for them to do so that they don't put themselves in unsafe situations and can still kind of get what it is that they're looking for? And what the guardian angels are talking about is a concept that comes up an awful lot about selfless, courageous action on behalf of the greater good. And this can often be as simple as like calling a congressperson, writing a letter to a public figure, even volunteering actions. There are a lot of groups that do civil disobedience. Like, for example, this channel, Jamie, I'm involved with Extinction Rebellion. But there are a lot of very similar groups that do civil disobedience that's nonviolent, but that clearly sends a message that is necessary and crucial to people in power. What they're trying to say is, if you're looking for a way to feel that rush without really being in danger, instead of vicariously living through characters on the screen who are in real dangerous situations, you can do something that is active and has real world impact, that takes sometimes less than the amount of time to watch a film. And because it is selfless, courageous action on behalf of the greater good, the vibration is high enough that it doesn't attract those kind of low vibration presences who are looking for someone who feels scared, but also who feels inactive. There's something about someone sitting on a couch. Oh, I'm on a couch right now. Sitting on a couch, watching something that frightens them. So their energy body is really soft, really open, but they're not taking action about it. They're kind of passively allowing that media to shift the way that their vibrations work in their body, the way that their vibrations work in their mind. And because of that combination of fear and passivity, they're really easy targets. Whereas if you're actually taking action, there's that kind of active vibration. Your energy body is kind of humming, and you're just not as interesting to someone who's looking for an easy target. They're going to look for someone who's much more passively engaging in media. So that's an interesting thought. If you're somebody who really likes horror and really feels like, but I want to feel scared, that is something that I'm passionate about. Let's try this. Just try for a little bit, or try to do 50% of this, and then start to feel how your overall vibrations change, and then think, oh, that's something that you might want to play with a little bit more. What was the other thing they wanted to talk about? Oh, this is also something interesting while we're on the topic of horror, and then we will crank our way back to some of the other topics. I love this. I love these questions where we can go in so many directions. Thank you, Tori. This is great. So they want to talk about some genre of horror. And for example, this is an example that the guardian angels bring up pretty frequently for psychic clients in the healing practice. It's The Sixth Sense. I think it was written, I think it was directed, I think it was also produced by M. Night Shyamalan. And if you haven't seen The Sixth Sense, the premise is that there is a child who is very energy sensitive, is very psychic, and has the ability to see with his eyes people who have already transitioned out of their bodies, dead people. Ghosts is a word a lot of people are comfortable with, and it's very disruptive in this child's life. And I think probably some of the people in this Patreon who've seen this video, you were also psychic kids. I was certainly a psychic kid. In our culture, we don't really have a good way to discuss it. It's not something that's openly worked with, and so a lot of psychic kids really suffer. They can be diagnosed with a lot of different things. They can have real social issues because it's hard for them to connect to people while they're dealing with all the other stuff. But in The Sixth Sense, M. Night Shyamalan really dealt with a lot of very real issues that psychic people face. And because he packaged it as a horror film, he packaged it as a fiction, which is totally understandable given the genres he was comfortable with, given the training he had. And because he packaged it as fiction, it's always been discussed as fiction, and no one really deals with the actual real experiences that he's portraying. Oh, this is cool. Okay, so what the guardian angels are saying is there are some films like that. It's a small slice, and it often has to do with ghosts. Oh, God, there's one that they're talking about. I'm trying to remember the name. I never saw it. It might have been called The Others. I think it was set after one of the world wars. Actress might have been Nicole Kidman. There was a plot that revolved around this woman and her children moving into an old estate, and there were, I think, servants or people who lived near the estate who were very strange. And throughout the film, it develops that various and sundry characters are not living. They've already transitioned. They just haven't noticed it yet. This is another one of those films that deals with an actual phenomenon that is real. And I think it's scary for people to think about, firstly, just because it's an unusual topic. Excuse me. Ooh, big energy shift right there. Thank you. And also because at a certain extent, people can feel that it is a real topic. Oh, I wonder why I'm choking right now. Either I'm not supposed to be talking about this, or I am. It could be either one. I'm just going to keep heading in the direction and we'll see how it goes. Ooh, hey yo. Oh man. So sometimes why those films are scary is that, especially if you're a psychic person or energy sensitive person, it feels scary because you've felt that feeling of people around you couldn't see with your eyes, maybe. Sometimes children have invisible friends who are people who have transitioned out of their bodies and don't have bad intent. Intent varies as it is for people in bodies. So The Others, I think, is the name of the film that they're talking about, which I've never seen and have only a very vague concept of, is another one of these films where if you're going to watch it almost as if you were watching a documentary with the intention to start to detangle some similar events that maybe you've experienced in your life or that you've heard of relatives experiencing in their lives. Often energy sensitive people, it runs in the family. I think most of us who were psychic kids had a psychic aunt, a psychic mother, a psychic grandmother. We had a line that we could trace back. Very rarely is the psychic person dropped into a family with very little psychic ability. That's just the way that soul currents run, and we can deal with that in a video someday. So that is one way you can watch horror films that have interdimensional elements to them, is to watch it really as a documentary and try to figure out if you have experienced these situations in your own life, because sometimes they're really based on reality. Like, those things actually happen, and part of why it's so spooky to us is we can feel, oh, wait a minute, this feels awfully familiar. Oh, it's creepy because it's real. Okay, so we're now going to try and track back, and I really hope they're willing to let us go on so many tangents. I know we're like way over time.